Okay, so maybe next we can talk about cinematography and camera work. Again, I thought it was amazing. Like the cinematography, even though it was a very like raw, real, gritty film, it was still beautiful.
Yeah, it was the same as everything else, right? So like the whole thing is kind of like anti-glam and realistic. So like a lot of the groundwork scenes are just like flat office angles and like hallways and like things like that. But when it needs to, it just like goes crazy when like everything comes together and like it's climaxing and like the camera is just following the action and stuff. So like it does both. So a lot of it was like again that grounded kind of muted look, and then just when it needs to explode, it just explodes.
Yeah. I really liked the camera work in the action scenes. Like it didn't feel like the camera is outside of the scene and just like and viewing and capturing the scene. It's like the camera is inside of the scene, so you like felt you were part of the scene, like the way it was like moving and stuff. That happened during, well, all of the action scenes, but like specifically I remember when Rahman Diket's gang is getting revenge on and taking out the other gang. In that scene, I noticed like the camera work was just so well done that you felt like you were in there, like you were one of the people, participating. So the camera was like, the camera made it almost feel like the audience is participating in the scene and not just like viewing it from the outside. And then the jungle scene at the end, like I just felt like the camera work was so good. You felt like you were just like you were there.
It also does a lot of groundwork in terms of like it'll sometimes show like one person in a large hallway or like a large space, and it kind of gives that same like mental impression, whether you thought of it or not, of them being so isolated and like alone here. So the cinematography was again very clever, very well done.
Very well done. That's what I'm like. That's what I feel like. I feel Aditya Dhar did such a good job. Like his vision is perfectly executed in every aspect of filmmaking, whether it's like camera work and screenplay, the writing, like the acting.
Take your time with like
everything.
All the pieces.
Yeah. Action. Do you want to talk about? Action. I thought the action was amazing. I didn't used to like action or gore or anything like that. I don't know what happened to me over the years. I feel like maybe it's Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon effect, but I loved the action and I really enjoyed it. I thought the action was very realistic. It was brutal and it needed to be. Like real life action isn't like glamorous and how they show like these spy movies, right? Whether in the West or in Indian cinema, like it was brutal and it was story and narrative driven. Like they didn't put anything in there in terms of action or any other scenes just for the sake of putting something in there because they thought the audience would like it. It was necessary. Like that's what I really liked about the movie. It felt like everything, whether it was like dialogue, a certain situation or scenario, or the action, like everything was justified. Like it was necessary. Nothing was like over the top just for the sake of just to get like that shock value. It was like necessary because this is how violence is in real life. It's not like it's not beautiful or like glamorous. It's ugly.
It's like hectic and like,
ugly.
You're doing whatever you can in the moment. And again, it was never like this, oh, we're gonna have like a hero segment where he like rips through like 100 of the enemy or like something like that. It was like if you're in a car with like 3 dudes, you're gonna like struggle and like it's a struggle for your life, and like that's what it showed. So very gritty, very realistic, very down to earth as well.
And like you said, I felt like even Sanjay Dutt got beaten up, right? Like if you see some of like, the hero or like the big macho guy, like usually movies show them as like not so
invulnerable.
Invincible. Invulnerable, invincible. Like like it's so easy for them to like get to other people and kill other people, but like no one can even throw a punch at them. But like Sanjay Dutt got beat up, Ranveer Singh got beat up by Rahman Diket, which even though he's smaller, but it makes sense because Rahman Diket is so dangerous, right? Like he is like a mob leader, so of course he'd have to know how to fight and fend for himself.
He's been in like many fights through his life and knows how to survive and things like that.
So it was very realistic in that sense, But I thought the action choreography was really well, especially the jungle scene at the end. I just loved it.
It was like a struggle. Like everyone was just grinding at the end. Like everyone, no one came out unscathed. Obviously.
And you felt the weight of it too.
Yeah.
Like I said, the whole movie, there's like a weight to it, and it needs to be that. But even like the action, like it felt real. Like when you throw a punch, it's not just like whatever and like, you know, easy. Like there's a weight to it, right? And
plus you're getting tired the whole time and things like that. It's like you don't have unlimited like endurance. So like by the end, like everyone's tired, everyone's bleeding out, like everyone's bruised.
Exactly.
Probably many broken bones. So it kind of showed that like it all ground to like the very end. So that was really great. Chapter 9 was amazing. The last chapter of the movie.
Last chapter was really good. Background score and sound design. Amazing. So I think, oh God, I'm going to forget the name. I think it was Sachdev something, who did like the music. And so maybe I'll start with the songs, at least for me. I thought it was so fresh. Like, you know, sometimes when you, so they used a lot of like old songs. So it was very like nostalgic, but then they kind of like remade it for like a modern day. And they did it so well. Like sometimes when you hear remixes, you feel like, why did you ruin an old song? Like, why did you ruin a classic? Can't you aren't you creative enough to like do your own thing? But this, it felt so fresh. Like, all of the songs, whether it was Ramba Ho at the beginning, loved it. Ishq Jalaka, when Ranbir Singh's entry, which is the Caravan song, that was phenomenal. Monica, Oh My Darling, when they're doing like the motorcycle chase or whatever. And then Ye Ishq Ishq Hai at the end. And then also, oh gosh, what's the title song? I'll remember it. But it's like that Punjabi title song. That was also phenomenal. They just like, it just felt fresh. The entire soundtrack. And it wasn't like, and Gehra Hua also is a beautiful song. That's a new song, but it was also beautiful. Again, nothing felt out of place. Like it was almost like the music and the sound was like interwoven with like the action and the story. It's just, it was like brilliantly done. Yeah, it just felt fresh.
I forget what this is called, but there's like a term for it starts with a D, but like sounds that are part of the movie and sounds that you understand come outside the movie. And this was like blending the two together. It's like they would rise and fall kind of at the same time. And there was no like hero sound. Like it wasn't like telling you what to feel about like, oh, this is the really good guy. Like feel good about him. It wasn't like that. Like a old not even old, but like current action flick would be, you know what I mean? So it was kind of just, it was all part of the movie, like integrated really well.
Right. Yeah. No, that's actually really true. And I also don't like that. I don't like when they kind of like, they show something and then the music is almost like so obvious what they're trying to get you to feel. Like this didn't feel like that at all. Like the background score was just phenomenal. And the songs were amazing. I'm like listening to them nonstop.
Diegetic sound. So diegetic versus non-diegetic sound. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna pull up the title track just because that's also really good. Oh gosh, what is it? Oh, also the Fasla song by Flipperachi, that was phenomenal. Like when Rahman Dakat's doing his when he's doing like his dance, when he's meeting the Baloch.
عندي خوش فصلة يا أخي تفوز والله خوش رقصة يا أخي دوس عندي خوش فصلة يا أخي تفوز والله خوش رقصة حلو زين مكان.
Leaders, that was really good. Oh gosh, where is it? Anyways, I'll come to it. But I thought the music was phenomenal. What about the Na De Dil Pardesi new? That was great as well. It just, and like even like the rapping or like the hip hop like blended into like the old songs. Like it felt justified because of like the genre, you know, like when they're chasing people, like doing car chases and like the violence and stuff like that. It just felt like the appropriate genre of music for like the genre of like movie. Yeah. And then like the sound effects were really good too. You know, like everything, the breathing.
We've
the
come a
footsteps.
long way from like the
And then, yeah, like the echo time.
Listen, we're not living up to our name enough, so that was our moment.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought the sound was really good as well. Maybe we can talk about like production, set design, makeup, costume, all of that stuff together.
Okay.
Like the whole like set. I thought it felt so good and grounded, like and as we said in the non-spoiler review, so the portion that was filmed that was taking place in Liari, Pakistan, that was actually filmed in Thailand, and apparently it took them like 3 months or like several months to like build that set. And they built like several like blocks, and so that like it just, and it felt lived in, like it didn't feel like clean or like new or anything like that. Like it felt like you were actually there in like the 90s and early 2000s.
It was like the opposite. It was like
Dirty.
dirty. Like this is what a ghetto or like a alleyway in this place would look like. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very like lived in and grounded. The world just feels so real. And then I thought like the makeup and costume were like on point as well. Like again, they all did like, okay, so apparently there's like a new movie from like YRF, like Spyverse, which is like in Indian cinema, and it's with like Alia Bhatt and someone else, and like on the poster Alia has like cuts, but her like makeup and everything is perfect. It's like, guys, but this felt real. They all looked dirty and gritty and bloody and like had like old wounds and stuff like that. So everything was amazing. Like it wasn't like, even his lips, like Ranveer Singh, it was like darker. And like his hair looked like it was dusty, like it has, you know,
just like anti-glam again. It's like they're like living in this space, and you feel that throughout the entire movie. Yeah.
And props to like the makeup department, because also the prosthetics, everything looks so real. So Madhavan, who plays Ajit Doval like has like, you know, he's kind of like bald, and so that was prosthetic. So apparently Madhavan, before he did his scenes, he had to sit in prosthetics for 3 hours before every take, like before every time he filmed, and it looked real. Like it's come such a long way from even Article 370, I have to say, where Shah, he was shown as balding, but you can kind of tell like it didn't look as real as it did here. Here you can't even clock it. And then Akshay Khanna, he's actually, the actor is balding, but like he was shown as having like full hair, and that looked real. Like you wouldn't clock that that Madhavan and Akshay Khanna had anything done to their like hair, because it looked so real. So.
No like old like scalp cap that's like bulging over your hair and like putting new hair on top of the old hair.
So like props to makeup and prosthetics. Like it was, again, it was top notch, because I feel like a lot of Indian movies that I've seen, like that's where you kind of get pulled out of the scene or like the movie. It's like, it looks fake, like the bald head looks fake, or like this looks fake, or the hair looks fake, you know.
And like the offices, it's not like everything was like a set perfect office with like perfectly stacked folders and stuff. It's like furniture was mismatched. There was piles of paper all over the place. Like, some of the couches were just like out of place, and I was like, it's just been there, you know. Like maps that were like kind of drawn over by hand many, many times and like erased and stuff.
Right.
So nothing's centered, nothing's clean.
The blood and injuries as well looked very real. It wasn't like the bright red blood that you sometimes see and it looks fake, or like it looks like ketchup. Like everything looked real. Like all the blood and the cuts and the bruises, you know, like they all looked very real. So props to makeup, costume, set design. Like it was just phenomenal. Okay. Maybe should we? I wanted to talk about things that I thought took this movie from like good or great to like that next level of like masterpiece. Like there's a lot of things I felt that elevated this film. One, I thought, and this is also related to like the themes, you know, and the motifs used in the movie, but like the use of like Hindu scriptures and shlokas during the movie, I thought like took like just elevated it to that next level. So at the beginning, the movie starts with a shlok or from the Bhagavad Gita.
Ready? I'm a king, but I pop, I'm a saint. They call me a bad man, that's a fucking good thing. Mama said swing back when another man swings, so I made my mama proud and they made the hairs ring. Father, forgive me, I can't forgive them. You know my history, know what I did then, know what I do now.
And it's Lord Krishna telling Arjun that, you know, when you're fighting for dharma, and in this context, dharma doesn't mean religion, it means righteousness. So, you know, when you're fighting for righteousness, even if you lose, you'll attain heaven. And if you win, you'll attain like the worldly kingdom. So fight. So stand up, Arjun, and fight. And so it starts with that. And it's the perfect framing for this movie, because you have the spy that is fighting for dharma, right? That's fighting for righteousness to protect his country, and putting his life on the line. So I thought like tying it back to like our scriptures was just elevated it to the next level. So it started with that, and then at the end, if you remember, and I thought like linking different parts of the movie, like a lot of times I found like it linked the beginning to the end, or it mirrored beginning and end, and I thought that again it elevates the movie. It like, you know, the director is like working at like multiple layers, like it's so layered. At the end, the hospital scene when Ranveer Singh kills Rahman Dakat, there's a shlok that's played, the Astoma Sadgamiya. That shlok means, you know, bring me from darkness to light, from mortality to immortality, from like bad to good. And so I think a lot of themes in Hinduism are about like, you know, vanquishing evil, but like the actual act of killing, like that also requires you to then like almost cleanse yourself from that. So apparently like Lord Ram, when he killed Ravan was an evil person and he needed to be vanquished and killed. But like after Ram killed him, he apparently did like a tapasya to cleanse himself from like the act of actually killing, to bring him from like that darkness of killing to lightness. Because even someone like Ravan, he was a very like educated person, right? And so you know, Ram said that, you know, he needed to be killed, but like I can feel sad for that's my cat. I can feel sad for like the death of his knowledge. So, you know, like I feel like these sorts of themes, like, you know, Ranveer Singh as Hamza, he is vanquishing evil. Like he needed to kill Rahman Dakat because he was an evil person and he was doing harm to India. But, you know, the act of killing, like you need to cleanse yourself from that. And so like that shlok played at that time, you know, bring me from darkness to light. And I thought again, like those references to our texts elevated the movie to the next level. Yeah.
Do you want to deal with Nola for a second?
Yeah.
So it really, like, the theme is kind of going back to the Gita as well, like what Krishna told Arjun. like peace is reserved for the worthy. If you offer peace to evil, it's just going to throw it back in your face. Dharma, if a dharma wants war, dharma will give it war. So like that's kind of the theme going on here. Like so many times India was attacked and did nothing in response. What does that invite? More attacks, more boldness, and like that kind of culminated with 2008 being the biggest attack. Also, like power that announces itself invites resistance. Power that just operates quietly and like causes these disruptions, takes apart these networks, and we still barely hear about it apart from like unknown gunmen. Like that's what works.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. And I love that. I love that because, you know, we have so much content available from like our history and our culture, right? Hinduism, ancient history as well as recent history. So like I love the weaving of that into this narrative. It just, again, it elevated it to that next level, and it just made it even better. I also thought another thing, as you mentioned, that elevated it to the next level, which this was also risky and bold for Aditya Dhar to do, because it might not have worked, but it landed perfectly, was using real footage from terrorist attacks like the 2001 Parliament attack in Delhi, as well as the 26/11 terrorist attack, to use real audio visuals of those attacks in the movie, because it takes you out of the movie for a second, but it gut punches you. Like the red screen that came after Hamza sees the 26/11 terrorist attack happening, then it goes to like the red screen, and then it you see the visual, and then it like gives the I guess like the script of it. It was pin drop silence in the theater, and it was heart-wrenching, and it was such a gut punch. And to people that are calling this propaganda,
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It was like, so it's just showing what actually happened.
What actually happened.
Like these are the real tapes. These are the real films. Like, what do you mean propaganda when it's
Right.
just actually saying what happened?
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And actually, Arjun Rampal, like the things that he's saying as a handler to the terrorists in Mumbai, like it shows that, and then it shows the red screen of like the handler and the terrorist saying the exact same thing, right? Same thing with the footage from the 2001 Parliament attack. Like it showed the footage of that. And then I also thought like it actually used things that Ajit Doval has actually said in his interviews, and actual lines that he's used. Like, for example, there's a line in the movie where he said, India's enemies are first Indians themselves and then Pakistan. And he's actually said that. So it's not propaganda, like he's actually said it. And there's other things, like he's talked about the 2000 or the Kandahar hijacking, like the airplane hijacking. He's talked about that scenario. He's talked about saying like Jai Hind, but the passengers were too scared, so they didn't say Jai Hind back. So like it's interweaving reality with like fiction, and it's doing it in like a masterful way. Like it's using these real events, and I thought that also, like, instead of completely pulling you out of the movie and feeling, I don't know, like forced, it just felt like it gave the movie even more weight and even more like substance. You know, it made it even more important. Every Indian should watch this movie, right? Like it was both times that I saw it, pin drop silence and when the red screen happened. You just felt it.
And especially like if you're watching in India, I'm sure a lot of people were there in 2008 when it happened, and like to go back to that. And like the respect and devastation for that is why it was so sad.
You know, and it actually showed also that like the Indian media is so irresponsible that they were like talking about the commandos coming in, and then and the Pakistanis, like the ISI, is watching it, and they're telling the terrorists what's happening. Like, you know, how irresponsible. So it actually showed that in the movie.
But everyone says this consistently, right? Like back then it was like every single week, like a different terrorist attack in a different place. days. So this was the death by 1,000 paper cuts
Right.
policy.
Yeah.
So it's gone down a lot in recent years. Like compared to like the 90s and early 2000s, very very little.
Yeah, and this is also something people are saying is like propaganda because it's showing like the previous government didn't do anything, and Doval is saying that, oh, maybe when a future government comes, then like the policy will change to pro-India. Like that happened, you know, like as you said, there were terrorist attacks every day. There were like serial attacks, you know, like it wasn't just like one bomb blast, it was like serial bomb blasts. Nothing happened. Aman ki Asha, that's what they said. You know, they wanted to be friends with Pakistan. After 26/11, one of the most brutal terrorist attacks that could happen in Mumbai, like in a major city, the then government did nothing. And our Air Force, like they were ready to actually do what they did during Operation Sindoor, but the then government, so Manmohan Singh and Sonia Gandhi said no.
Right.
Don't do anything. You know? And so, of course, someone like Doval or these spies or like whoever's defending our borders.
Less attacks we would have had if they did this.
Something.
Like, so after Operation Sindoor, like 11 Pakistani air bases, which is like 20% of their infrastructure, were disabled within like hours in one night. So imagine the deterrence. It's like, hey, we know you're in bed with like all these terrorist groups. Every time you do something, well, guess what? We're just going to turn you off for a while. And like, this is your, like, maybe you take 7 months a year to rebuild, but like, this is your like slap on the wrist, right?
Or like, it has to be disproportionate force, right? Like, and that's what Modi government is doing. But there's also a scene where where Doval is saying like, so we infiltrated like the Pakistan gangs, but we can't infiltrate the UP gangs, like in India, Uttar Pradesh. Let's collect intel and wait for a government that's like more amenable to us or more favorable to us. Like these are things that actually happen because you see the change in strategy with Modi coming in, right? Like, no, every terrorist attack will have disproportionate response so that there's a deterrence, right? Like, we're not just going to roll over and say like, oh, if you hit me this on one cheek, here's the other cheek, right? Like, no, this is a new India. And so again, I thought like that the weaving of like the true events and the reality was great. Showing the actual footage was phenomenal as well. And then another thing that I thought that elevated this movie was again like the linking in between parts, especially the beginning and at the end. Like for example, the hospital scene with Rehman Dikeh, like that's at the beginning. So in the beginning, Ranveer Singh or Hamza, he's getting his trust, right, by like showing that he tried to save his son. And so there's that scene with Rehman Dikeh. And then at the end scene, he's betrayed him, right? Like in the hospital scene, like he's betrayed him. So like, you know, that juxtaposition I thought was really well done. The red screen. So like, I don't know, did you notice like all the chapters were in white, but the final chapter was in red. And then they used the red screen to show the audio of like the discussion between the handler and the terrorist, so that was in red. And then I think in the final scene where he's sitting, the background, like out of the windows, it shows red, like it lights up as red. And then in that end scene, which I loved, it was one of my favorite scenes, he's all bloody and like there's a tear going down his face and it's like red, like the tear is red because obviously it's
colored by all the blood. Yeah.
So like the use of like these sort of themes, you know, like I just feel like it just takes it to the next level. It was just phenomenal. I loved it.
Very good. Go see it.
Go see it. So let me just see if I have. Oh gosh. But I think that's it in terms of like the different aspects of filmmaking. I thought like every aspect was just the finest of like the craft, and that's what made this movie so good. And yeah, anything else like you want to say about any of like the pieces
I
of
think
like
that was
filmmaking?
pretty extensive.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
really good all around. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Honestly?
No part of it left it down.
No.
That's it.
No.
Like every single component that makes a movie was like really good or
Perfect.
excellent.
Yeah. And like before this, Sardar Udham was like my favorite movie because it was a cinematic masterpiece, and it's still like one of my favorites. But I think now this is my favorite movie. Again, cinematic masterpiece, and like the buildup, like the tension that you feel, and then like the action, it's just so good. You know, like I said, it keeps you at the edge of your seat. Did you want to talk about like your favorite parts of the movie, or like your favorite scenes or moments? Maybe we can end with that.
Well, just chapter 9 in general was my favorite. And it was called
A2 Brutus.
A2 Brute.
Brutus.
No, an A minus means you actually earned an A, but the teacher doesn't like you. It's a secret faculty thing.
What? Are you kidding?
At 2, Brute? Am I using that right?
I've been busting my butt for 5 years, and the whole thing comes down to a few old losers, petty insecurities? Oligarchy!
At 2, Brute!
Yeah, we had this little laugh in the theater, but yeah. So chapter 9 was when like every part of it like infiltrating like all the different networks, and it all came together, and you're kind of playing these like 3 kind of sides off each other, and getting what you want, which is eliminating Raymond, right? So that was really great. In the card scene where like he's taking him off the path, and like he's like, why are we going this way? It's like, oh no, it was shorter this way. And he's like, well, where's everyone else? He's like, oh, they'll come. And then he's like getting suspicious. That's where everything just explodes altogether. Like the music starts going, and like they start fighting in the car, like getting a car accident, like they're crawling out of the car. Like this is when all 3 of them are kind of grinding each other down to the very like bitter end. That was just when it all came together.
Yeah. So, and like the humor was really good too. Like the beginning, one of the beginning scenes where like Ranveer Singh is like having that salty chai, and then he like spits it out right away.
There was just
like,
a few moments that were like funny,
so
but it was
good.
like just enough to cut the tension.
Yeah. And then again, Sanjay Dutt's entry and like some of his lines were so good. Like he's like, put your ungli in the hole. That was so good. Even like the daughter, like how she like so easily betrays her father. Like that was really funny. But some of like my favorite, well, I have a lot of favorite scenes, but some of my favorite scenes were Akshay Khanna, after his son dies, when he's like lighting his cigarette and you see like the tears in his eyes, like, oh, that was a fantastic scene.
And you're not sure what he's going to do, right? So it's so tense because it's so like,
tense.
Even though this guy tried to save him, he might just be angry and like take him out as well.
That is so true. That's actually because all of these characters are dangerous, right? So you don't know what they're going to do. So like the tension was just so good. I love the whole entire Ramba Ho scene, like that, when Ranveer Singh is trying to save the Rahman Diket's children, and like the Ramba Ho is playing, and like the action to the Ramba Ho, I love that. His hair flip when he comes up and he does like he shoots. There's like memes and stuff on like Instagram that's like Ranveer's hair is giving me like is making me jealous or whatever. Like, yeah,
Good meme.
the hair flip was amazing. The entire scene, like the way it was shot, was really good. The revenge on the rival gang, when Rahman Diket does the revenge, like it showed, I think it was in like the trailer or the first look, but like seeing it all was like, it was brutal, and it was like so well shot, like when he does the rope around the guy, and then it does like the drone shot of him being like dragged, and then putting him in that like. And
again, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna do this way, this, and this. It was like, okay, I have a plan. We're just gonna like in an instant dismantle this entire rival gang. Right?
Yeah, the entire 2611 scene, that was just, it was a gut punch. you know, it's happening, and then Ranveer Singh is out of focus and he comes in focus and you hear his breathing. Like, so the sound was so good, and then he's just, he can't like show that he's like devastated, but you can see the shock on his face. And then I think Arjun Rampal's character is saying, is getting everyone to say, like, you know, whatever, like the chant, and he has to do it as well, like, you know, and so that was just heart-wrenching. And then the red screen, that was another like sucker punch. And then the bridge scene. So like in that scene, amongst like the ISI and the gang members, like he had to go along with it. But then in the bridge scene with the other like spy, like then you can see his rage. He's like, din dahade mere ghar mein, right, ghus ke mare. And then he's like, I have to get all of these people. And then the other spy is like, patience, right, we're in it for the long run. And so I thought, oh, that scene was just, that entire segment was just so beautifully made and shot and acted. It was just phenomenal. Also, after the interval scene, where Arjun Rampal is like, I know who the spy is, or like, I know who leaked the information about when 2611 was supposed to happen. And he has to witness another Indian agent getting tortured. And this is again based on reality. Like it's reported and documented how ISI treats like Indians if they're captured, like cuts them into pieces, just tortures them for days.
He had like hooks all over his body and face, like
brutal.
pulling him up.
That was brutal. It was hard to watch. And then of course the forest scene. I loved that scene. It was so good. I loved how, you know, like spies or like, you know, elite forces, they're trained to use whatever is at their disposal. So I liked how that he used things in the forest to like
there was a spiky tree and like kick someone onto the tree.
And like there was like this ropey
just very
thing
gritty
too.
and like
I loved that. The action sequences were really good. And then what I loved is when Rahman Dakat, he like hits him, like he hits his head a few times, and then Hamza actually like falls down, and then like the images of 2611 flicker in his mind, and that's when he gets up.
Last bit keeping him going for the last stretch, right?
And that like wrath, you know, where he's like just punching out Rahman Dakat, you can feel that like he's avenging what happened, right? And how they celebrated such a horrific thing on his own countrymen. Like that was a phenomenal scene. And then my final scene, and then also the end scene was really, I just loved it. Like his acting in that end scene where it takes a lot to like infiltrate, like he spent years infiltrating this gang, going up certain levels, gaining the trust, and then finally killing like the lead or the head. And like you just see it. You just see the, you know, like all of the work and like what it's taken emotionally, physically, psychologically from him. Like you see it on his face. He's all bloody. And then again, like I said, like that tear down his face, and his hands are still shaking because he just came from the fight. And then you see like the list of every other person that's like on his hit list.
He still has to kill.
But like the expression on his face was fantastic. And again, I feel like there was that tear, and like you see all of the emotions that are going on. Like, you know, he's not saying anything, but you can see it. Like he's showing it by his fantastic acting. And there's like a scene at the beginning where there's a tear going down his face, but that's almost like it's almost like everything he's lost by leaving his country, coming to this foreign place. It's been like a year or something that he's been there and he's not getting anywhere. So it's almost like what am I doing here?
Right.
So, you know, there was that tear that he shed, and then there's this tear after he's actually completed part of his goal. But like the toll that, you know, that takes, and it's probably some relief that Rahman Dakat actually died, because if he had survived, that would have been, you know. So sorry. And then one more piece that I actually really liked. I liked how it because when you're seeing the Pakistan part, you're so sucked into it, and then sometimes it shows what's happening in India. So you know when he sends the message that they got the plates for like the $500 and $2,000 notes, and then it cuts to Doval looking at the note. I loved that.
Yeah.
Like I just loved how it connected. Like when he gets intel and he's like, it shows the intel, but then it cuts to like what's happening in India
Right.
and the reaction in India. So I love that. So good. Just the whole movie was just spectacular.
Yeah.
And like I said, all of these things just elevate it to that next level of masterpiece, masterclass.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is the new threshold.
Yeah, there's no part of it that I could say like let anything of it down. Like you said, there was maybe 30 seconds of like an item E song, but it was like fine. It was
fine.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All of it was really, really good. Yeah, definitely
good.
masterclass. Definitely go watch it. I don't know if you got this far. Why would you have gotten this far if you didn't watch it? But
Go watch it again.
Go watch it again. Go watch it 2-3 times, 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
Bring your children, bring your husbands and wives, bring everyone you can.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see it when it comes out, I think on March 19th. The second part.
Yeah.
I'll watch it maybe once a week until it's in theaters.
Yeah.
And then once this one comes out on Netflix, oh man, am I gonna watch it over and over
So
again.
are they just doing 2 or is it like going to be ongoing?
It's just the 2,
Right.
but like who knows what Aditya Dhar is gonna
might
do
do something
next.
next,
I
yeah.
mean, thank you for making this movie for Indians first, because I feel like a lot of the reason why some Indian movies feel like, who are you making this for? Like, why is it making Indians look bad? It's because
we hadn't even watched like Bollywood for a long time. Most of it, like a lot of it just went towards like the cheap mass market crap, and like we didn't really enjoy it. But yeah, this was Bollywood back in full force, right?
Yeah.
We're excited. We have a trailer reaction for Ramayan coming up.
Oh, that's right.
Diwali 2026, right? Yeah, and then 27 for the next part. So that's this year.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. It seems like they kind of got the memo and they're back, at least some of them.
Some.
Yeah.
Some are.
Yeah.
I feel like they're still doing the propaganda of like making Indians look bad, but like our enemy state, our terrorist state, like look good. I don't know why, but there's like a portion of Bollywood that's still doing that, and like we stopped watching all of like those films. Basically all of like the, I don't know, A-listers and like these big names like Karan Johar and like YRF, like we just stopped watching it because like it's all like, it's just nonsense. It's not realistic. Why are you putting your own country down? It's almost like because you get business from like Pakistan and the Gulf countries, because a lot of them watch Indian movies. It's like you're making movies for them first. But, you know, Aditya Dhar took a risk because he's like, I don't care. I'm telling it how it is.
Yeah.
Even if it gets banned, right? And it did get banned in Pakistan and Gulf countries, but
Yeah,
like...
but still probably the most watched movie in Pakistan.
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
true.
It beat all records for piracy there. So like people are watching it, they probably pirate it, watch it in groups, things like that.
That's
So
true.
it's I would not be surprised if it was the top non-grossing movie in Pakistan right now as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like brilliant movie, and looking forward to the next part, and like
watch it again.
Watch
and
it
then
again.
watch this again.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Okay.